Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 8, Episode 10, Meltdown in Milan. The show opens with all the ladies getting ready for their big trip to Milan. All I have in my notes is what is on Ziggy's face. There was no explanation, but I've never seen one of the ladies look like that before. So the trip starts out nice. Melissa and Margaret are going to go to a showroom so Melissa can pick out clothes for Envy. And Danielle and Teresa are going to go to a restaurant, and Ziggy and Dolores are going to go shopping. So everybody's having fun in their little groups of two. They all meet for dinner that night, and things don't go quite that well. I mean, why these women think that they can all go to a restaurant together, I don't know, because history has proven that that's not the best thing for them to do. It starts off fine. They're just being fun and silly and hanging out, and everyone's talking with each other and seemingly having a good time until Ziggy has to address the elephant in the room. Why? Why do you feel the need to address the elephant in the room? I mean, right now in a restaurant out in public. Also, Ziggy is a super Jew. I did not know that. I'm not even trying to know what a super Jew is. But she is extremely offended by Margaret referencing Hitler at the last dinner they had. And she wants an apology, and that's part of what's going on here. That's part of her bringing everything up. But the elephant in the room turns into, like, within seconds, everybody shouting at each other. Melissa thinks that the elephant in the room is the fact that Dolores got right up in her face and screamed at her about, you know, walking in the show. And so she gets up and reenacts it with Teresa, and Dolores apologizes. I did not see that coming. Dolores said, yeah, I felt really bad right after I did that. And Melissa's like, yeah, but I didn't know that. You never actually came to me and apologized, or I had no idea you felt bad about it. And Dolores is like, well, this is the first time I've seen you since. Okay. But that's not why Ziggy brings up the elephant in the room. Ziggy brings it up because she wants to bring up the Hitler comment. And Margaret is like baffled by it because she's like, it was just an analogy. And it was. They were talking about walking in Kim D's show, and Ziggy said, I've known Kim D for many years. She's never done anything wrong to me. And Margaret said, you know, and Hitler wouldn't have killed me, but that doesn't make him a good person. I mean, it was a little extreme, but, you know, analogies can be. I understood her point. She definitely wasn't saying Hitler was a good guy. Again, that was just Ziggy taking something to the extreme. She knew she didn't mean anything horrible by that. And you know, a lot of people reference Hitler as the epitome of evil. But according to Ziggy, apparently the only time you should ever bring up his name is if you are referring to the Holocaust. To Ziggy, it's like Voldemort, he who shall not be named. Anyway, Danielle was defending Margaret and said, it was just an analogy. And Margaret's kind of like getting upset, and Ziggy calls Margaret an anti-Semite. Yeah. So, I mean, everyone was like, what? No, I mean, come on. And Margaret stood up and she was all mad, and then she was like crying, and Dolores stands up because she's going to defend Ziggy. And Ziggy's like, just tell the bitch to sit down. I mean, not Ziggy's finest hour. When Danielle begins to defend Margaret, Ziggy's wrath just like comes out at Danielle, and she's like, just shut up. You've known her for like 6 seconds. And Danielle was fuming. This was the little scene we got to see the preview of last week. Danielle lost it. And she just starts screaming and like pounding and throwing things. And I think like Teresa got splashed with a drink. And then to the confession cam, Teresa said, I've called Danielle a prostitution whore and flipped a table on her, and I've still never seen her this mad. They all leave, and I guess they got kicked out of that restaurant. Now they're outside, and Ziggy thinks that Teresa and Melissa should be sticking up for her and Dolores with that Hitler comment. The next morning, Danielle, Teresa, Melissa, and Margaret are all sitting around talking, kind of rehashing the night before. And Melissa says, well, come on, let's get out of our funk. We're in Italy. Let's have fun. And she arranged for a canal tour. And Danielle says she's not going to go. She's going to stay behind. Dolores said she would come, but that Ziggy is also going to stay behind. Kind of shocked Dolores is going to do anything without Ziggy. So they all get ready to go on the canal tour. And Melissa knocks on the door to get Dolores, and she's in there talking to Ziggy. And Dolores goes to get ready for the tour, and Melissa said, you know, Danielle's staying behind too. Maybe you two could talk. And Ziggy said, yeah, I'm going to give her a call because I need to apologize to her. So she does. She tells her that she was really mad at Margaret and she took it out on Danielle, and she didn't mean to do that, and she definitely didn't mean to dismiss her. And that was Danielle's hot button issue. And Danielle says that she saw red and she doesn't ever want to see that color again. I don't know why that struck me as funny. I have written down in my notes, Danielle never wants to see the color red. So she accepts her apology, but it's going to take her some time. Baby steps. It's going to take her a little while to get over it because she does not like being dismissed. Ziggy says that she feels like ever since she introduced Margaret to the other ladies that she's been attacking her. And she said that Margaret knew she had a hysterectomy and yet still called her soggy flicker, and this whole thing with the Hitler comment. Danielle does defend Margaret, and she says Margaret is not anti-Semitic and that she never would have said that to hurt her. She really was just using it as an analogy. Ziggy's like, yeah, but you know what? There's just not a good vibe with us, and I just don't think there will be. And Danielle said, yeah, I think Margaret probably feels the same way. We do cut to a scene of all the men going to lunch back in Jersey. Joe Gorga, Margaret's husband is there, and Danielle's boyfriend, and Frank Sr. Yes, Dolores' ex-husband. Why? Dolores has a boyfriend. So for the four ladies who went on the canal tour, they're having a good time. Their tour guide is very cute and they're being a little flirty with him and they're having fun. They cut back and forth between those four ladies and Danielle and Ziggy back at the hotel still. Oh, and did you guys notice, is Danielle wearing Melissa's jacket? Remember the jean jacket she tried on that said lovers and red like script letters in the back? Either that's Melissa's jacket that Danielle's wearing, or Danielle bought one from Envy. Maybe that's it. Back to the four ladies. The canal tour's over. Now they're out to lunch and they're like at an outdoor cafe. And Margaret says, you know, I really do actually wish everybody was here because we had fun. This was a good time. She kind of starts to talk to Dolores about Ziggy. Bottom line is Dolores does think she should apologize for the Hitler comment. And also somebody asked Dolores, do you think that Margaret and Ziggy will ever be able to come together and be friends? And Dolores said, you know what, to be honest with you, you know, I don't think so. And Teresa goes, yeah, I mean, maybe because they're just like oil and vinegar. Oh my God. This again? At least Melissa gets an opportunity here to be more intelligent than Teresa. She says it's oil and water. Oil and vinegar actually go together quite well. Teresa should have used Ramona's line when Ramona said it on Real Housewives of New York. Ramona said, well, I just mean that, you know, because they separate. And that's not what you meant, Ramona. But that was kind of funny, and that was actually a good answer for her. Like I said, at least Melissa got to be the smart one this time, because for the second time in like 2 episodes, Melissa makes Teresa look like a brain surgeon. The first was when she didn't understand that a bat mitzvah was not only just one time of year. And earlier in this episode, before they go out to dinner, Teresa comes to Melissa's room and she said, oh, we were out today. I was out with Danielle. And she goes, oh, and we saw this beautiful cathedral. And Melissa said, oh, isn't that just in Rome? They have them here too. Oh. When Teresa Giudice is explaining things to you, that's not good. That is not a good sign. Then we cut to Ziggy back in her hotel room. Ziggy has still not gotten dressed. She is still in her bathrobe. And now she's on the phone with Michael Campanella, who, by the way, where was he during that husband's get-together? She's telling him that Italy is beautiful. And he said, how are you getting along with the ladies? And she's like, oh, well, not good. And they talked about Margaret. And he said, you know what? She's just... You got to take your own advice and just get the toxic out of your life. She's just not good for you. She doesn't have your best interest at heart. And she goes, no, I know. You're right. You're right, Michael. And he says, you know, if you want my advice, you should just come home. And actually, he kind of says he's stepping in. I may just have to step in and tell you to come home. Something that just verged on me not liking it very much. And she says, yeah, I'm going to come home. So I don't know if she's going to come home early or not, because I think I saw her in previews for next week. Anyway, I guess we'll have to see. That's where this episode ends. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked this episode. And don't forget to comment down below. I love to hear from you guys. I will see you next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Time for the next recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Bye-bye.